This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Well, hello everybody. Thanks for stopping by.
Hello.
It's Josh and I. We're doing Josh Has Autism again.
Yeah.
So how are you doing today?
I'm actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, you having a good day?
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right in.
Okay.
Okay. Your brother-in-law, RJ, is an amazing artist.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's the one who draws all the artwork for us.
Yes, he does all the illustrations for that are connected to each blog. So when we do the podcast, I've always kind of looked at it like this is your voice. The podcast is a voice, an opportunity for you to share and for you to help anybody that's going through what you're going through. And then the blog is kind of like my point of view on the same subject.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, when things get posted, there's always a design, always some artwork that's on the with the blog.
A correlating piece,
yes. And he's done every single one, and he is so incredibly talented. So if anybody out there is looking for an artist, you can go to my site, sonyaking.com. It's SONYAKING, and you can find all of his artwork there. And then if you like it, let me know. And if you're interested in him doing something, he works on pieces for people all the time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. He actually just did one. I don't know if you saw it yet. It's they've got two babies. One of them's 3. One of them's almost 2. Next month she's going to be 2. And he captured them. He made them elves.
Like in Santa's workshop, yeah.
Yeah, it's hysterical. It's hysterical because he captured them so clearly. For some reason, Connor has blonde hair, blue eyes, pale skin, and Madison has dark curly hair, brown eyes, and this olive tone that I think any of us would kill for. It's just gorgeous. And she does it. For anybody's wondering, she gets it honestly because from both sides of the family, RJ's sisters have the olive skin. They all have brown eyes. And on my side of the family, my grandmother, and especially, do you know you have a great aunt that still lives up here? Right up the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aunt Gladys.
Yeah.
And I always think about she reminds me of when I talk about Maddie's beautiful olive skin color. Reminds me of Aunt Gladys.
Oh.
And the brown eyes and everything. So anyway, but in this I don't know why I went off on that subject, but
because you love your grandkids.
I do love my grandkids, and in this piece of art that RJ created, their personalities are captured so much because they're both little elves in this piece of art. They have pointed ears. They're, and Connor's just, tearing apart
toy dinosaurs.
trying to play with dinosaurs. And Maddie's got these like streamers, and she's running around the house, and it just looks really, really cute.
Yeah.
Shameless
plug aside.
Yes.
He's the one who does our artwork.
Yes. Shameless or unshameless, because he's phenomenal.
He is.
Yes. It got me thinking about creativity and what that looks like and how it's different, for different people. RJ and I talk about this often. We're both Libras, and so there's traits that are similar, but mine is in speaking. And in stand-up comedy. That's how I express myself, and he does it through art. And I thought about what you do and how the things that you do, and I thought, what is ever written? What's out there? What information is out there about autism and creativity? And so I did some research, and I found something in Psychology Today, and they shared a study that was published in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders, and they found that a strong link between autism and creativity.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised by that, but I mean, really.
You're surprised that us dodos figured it out.
No, I mean, think about it. Most people that think about autism think of us having not just having, but needing things to be in black and white, not necessarily shades of gray.
Right. Well,
and most people don't realize that, yeah, we're pretty creative too.
Yeah. That leads me right into the second part of that same study, because that finding that there was a strong link between autism and creativity, they said that finding surprises most people because they associate autism like with rigid thinking, and restricted interests, and like a literal interpretation of speech and behavior. I think that that's probably, it's a general statement.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's probably what a lot of people have in mind when they think of somebody that's on the autism spectrum. Now, we use the term autism spectrum. A lot of people that don't have somebody in their family that's on the spectrum, they just would know it as autism, which is, I feel like is interchangeable at this point.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting because you see things, like all of the things that are in your environment, you see as equal. And you don't necessarily connect objects through their relationship with one another. So what I mean by that is, it seems to me that it's pretty easy for you to... So if I saw something, let's say I saw bag of sugar, and that bag of sugar was sitting on our front porch.
Mm-hmm.
I would recognize that bag of sugar should not be sitting on the front porch, because I look at things in their relationship to other things.
Mm-hmm.
Where would that go? Now, maybe that's a bad example. Maybe I should say something that was more a salt shaker sitting on the coffee table.
Okay.
So, for me, I would know that doesn't go there just because I know it doesn't go there. But in relationship-wise, I would think that when you see the salt shaker, you see a pepper shaker, you think of the other as well.
Yeah.
So it goes together.
Yeah.
Where do they belong? In the kitchen. Some people keep them on their dining room table. Some people keep them in their kitchenette if they have one. Yet what I see when I see you being you.
I know she pointed at all of me.
It doesn't work that way. You don't necessarily see this relationship as something that's necessary for you to get the picture, as well as it goes the other way, in that you don't see something as being out of place because you don't think of it as a relationship to anything else. So, if I put a load of laundry, if I put a pile of dirty clothes in the hallway,
I'll step right over it and don't even notice it.
Exactly. That's my point. Is that you're not going to say that doesn't belong here. You will recognize it enough to step over it. But you're functioning, and I know we're talking about creativity. So what I mean is that if you take one thing and put it in a well, then that's what comedy is too. You take a situation and put it with in another situation that couldn't possibly be,
right?
Something that goes together, and like you take somebody that's 110 years old, and they're going to go rollerblading for the first time. It doesn't seem like it really goes, right? It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, people that are over 100 go skydiving all the time.
Isn't that amazing?
I have a severe fear of heights, so no, it's not.
I always thought that once you did that, once you jumped out of a plane, that it's so scary initially that you get rid of all your fear. Like you cannot possibly be petrified the whole way. I think that the scary part is the initial drop, and then I imagine that you don't feel that uncomfortable feeling. Like what I don't like on a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. The part that I don't like on a roller coaster is the going up. That first initial going up. That click, 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 or whatever it is. That I just remember that click, click, click because when I grew up in San Diego, it was Pacific Beach. Specifically, and there was Balboa Park, and Balboa Park had one of those wooden roller coasters. Yeah. That, thinking back on it, that was just, yeah. I mean, I don't wonder sometimes did Mom send me there because she didn't like me too much. Anyway, I don't like that slow movement going up. It's uncomfortable, just like Ferris wheels.
It's because it's ratcheting up, and it's gearing towards the climax of the height that'll send the whole thing going.
Well, also
it's the anticipation.
Well, yes, but also for me, I don't particularly like heights like that. If I'm in a roller coaster and it's going very slow up, and I can look over to my side and see where I could plummet, that's what makes me uncomfortable. Once we get over that the peak, and you head down, that first drop is what I'm talking about with jumping out of an airplane. That makes my stomach flip. But then after that first drop, it's okay. The faster the better. It can swirl every which way, and
I think that's cool and all. I can't breathe during it.
You hold your breath the whole time.
No, it's not that I hold my breath. It's that I can't breathe in. So I'm literally gasping for air by the time the end of it comes. And I'm so stressed out because of it. And because wind going by my head real fast, for some reason I can't breathe it in. Mm-hmm. Like I can breathe outward. Can't breathe back in. So that's why I'm saying if I were to jump out of an airplane, I'd probably be dead.
You'd be dead before you. Yeah.
No, I'd be dead because I'd be unconscious by the time I hit the ground.
That's what I'm saying. You would have passed out from not breathing. Yeah. That reminds me that we're talking about it. It just reminds me one time. When we lived in Virginia, when your dad was still in the Navy, we went to
Busch
Gardens, and they had all kinds of water things just like a water park with it. Yeah. And so we went. Your dad was staying with Bug. She wasn't going to go up on it, and you wanted to go. So I went over with you, and we started going up the ramp to go up to the slide. You got ahead of me in this line. You were very, very fast. And you got ahead of me in this line. And I was trying to catch up to you. The next thing I know is that you are up at the very top of this slide, but you're not in the slide. You're on top of the slide.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I have no idea. It was so scary. So if you are picturing this correctly, because that expression on your face, right? There are these big round tubes.
Yeah.
Right? And you went from being on a platform with these people to help you to get into the slide. Somehow or another, you bypassed every safety net that they had, safeguard that they had. You were up on top of this slide.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was the scariest thing ever. And I probably wiped people out, I never got up those stairs so fast.
Oh, wow.
To get to you. It scared me. There was nothing, if you went on either side, there was nothing to stop you.
Yeah.
Because the way that it was set up. Nobody's meant to go on top of that. I don't know, you little monkey climbing up there. That was so scary.
Yeah.
So scary. And there's parts of that I don't remember, and I think it's because it was so scary. You know? I remember I got to you, I got up there, we got you down, the guys were shocked. And they didn't even know you were there. You did, you know? I'm like, help me get him down, get him down. And,
oh, man.
Yeah, that was scary. Anyway, all the stuff about the roller coaster just reminded me about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not taking you to a water park again. So, anyway, does it make sense to you? What I'm saying is that you see things that are not connected, like a relationship. How a lot of times, if I saw something out of place, I would observe that as out of place and recognize that as out of place, and that's not what happens with you. And I feel like that's why that leads into your creativity as well. Does that make any sense?
Somewhat, I think. I guess it's just me not quite grasping what you're saying, but I think I get the general idea, though.
Well, what I'm saying is that you're not limited the way that I'm limited in my thinking, in that when I see something, I can see if it's out of place or if it's not out of place for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
there.
It opens up for creativity, and how that translates. Here's what I'm trying to say, is that connection to relationship or non-relationship, for me, guides creativity. For you, there's no limits to creativity because you don't see that something doesn't go together.
Right.
So in that regard, it seems like your creativity is off the charts because it's whatever it is that you want it to be.
Yeah.
I think a lot of artists are that way, especially when we're talking about RJ.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to I draw stick people. I guess as far poorly. That is true. That is very true. But I noticed if we go someplace, there are things that you observe that I don't observe. So if you're giving me directions or something, I'll see. I won't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like for directions, I go based off of landmarks, and I can't remember street names. Mm-hmm. Like we've been living here 4 or 5 years now, and I still have difficulty remembering which one's 10 and which one's 110.
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
But if you were to say, the Walmart across from Little Caesars, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Right. I want to tell you about one other article that I found, and it's from the conversation.com.
Okay.
That's where I found. So I'm just going to read something here off this. I thought this was really cool. It says that autism is commonly, if mistakenly, associated more with logical thinking than creative expression. But new research suggests we might need to rethink our views on creativity and autism. So the criteria we use to diagnose autism have long made reference to the fact that autistic imagination appears to be limited, and this trait is used in a way of detecting the condition. So, yet in reality, we still see that many extremely creative autistic people. We see a lot of them. We talked about that earlier. We talked. Told you that the gentleman that came up with the whole concept of Pokemon, he's autistic.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The author of Alice in Wonderland, he's autistic.
He also had lead poisoning or something like that, which was driving him crazy.
well,
mercury poisoning, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, there's a lot of people. Dan Aykroyd, Daryl Hannah. There are people that are out there that are on the spectrum that are their livelihood is their creativity.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. So back to this article. It says this paradox led researchers at the universities Sterling to study creativity and autistic traits in a large group of both autistic and non-autistic individuals. So their tests of creativity involve coming up with as many innovative uses for common objects or interpretations of vague pictures as they could in 1 minute. The total number of suggestions were recorded, and they were rated on how unusual they were. So the authors found that individuals with higher levels of autistic traits made fewer suggestions than those with lower levels of autistic traits. But surprisingly, the suggestions from those with higher levels of traits had greater originality. So it seems that being on the autistic spectrum is associated with being able to generate suggestions that were more creative. Now, what I just read is just a much better way of saying what I was saying to you, is that you have a way of seeing something that I don't see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like, give me a random. let's do this little experiment thing real quick.
Okay.
Give me a random item, and I'll give you 3 things. Glasses?
Mm-hmm.
She's holding up her glasses, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to nod yes or no. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. These are my very expensive dollar store glasses. Uh-huh. I have them in every room. My reading glasses have them in every room.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So first off,
mm-hmm.
magnifying glass to burn bugs.
Ooh.
So it's not very common, but it is a use for it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing. Mm-hmm. Yours are very colorful and striped and everything like that in multiple colors.
Mm-hmm.
It could be used as a prop for like a librarian or a really not prissy. What is it called? Very strict.
Okay.
Very strict.
Stern.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. Like a librarian or or someone in charge of something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it could be a prop for on stage.
Right.
Not only because it's really low level of lenses, mm-hmm. but because those kind of glasses look like something that they'd wear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, generalizing.
Sure.
And let's come up with a third one. You could make a mask out of it.
A mask?
A mask. Yeah. Paper mache over top the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And then just be able to have like little face mask, like a masquerade thing.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
So those are just 3 ideas just off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are too original, but they're still pretty good, right?
Oh, I think so, because what we're talking about is that when I see my glasses, I just see my glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever think of any
other use.
Right. Well, certainly not killing bugs. Because When there's bugs around here, I enlist your dad's help to carry them outside, away from the house, so that they can go and live free and safe out there.
Yeah.
So yes. So of course my response to that was ew.
Yeah. But that's just an example of how I can view things differently.
Well, I think the whole point in all of this is that there's not limits.
I see the possibility of things, not just how they are.
Exactly. You don't operate inside those limitations. Like when we
Why do you think I kept on gathering sticks and things like that growing up? Specifically so that I could make things with them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I remember making a toy gun for out of wooden pieces that were just found on the ground and everything like that, and I sanded them down and I made a toy gun for Lindsay's first child. Lindsay's my cousin, and I gave it to him, and it made me feel really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what I'm talking about. How that I wanted to know how that works for you. If a lot of times, a creative mind is one that sees things that are not there.
Sees things in the things that are there, but not seen directly.
Yes. I was just going to correct myself, because as soon as I said that, I'm like, seeing things that are not there. Yeah. Those are different words to describe that scenario. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, what's your creative outlet?
Mainly it's writing, actually. I do draw some, using different mediums, but I like to write. And
but we'll get to that. You were just in an art show. Yeah. Well, tell me about that.
Well, it started out in an art class for people with autism. That's actually what this art show was for. Was to showcase people with autism and what they can do. And I made a couple different pieces. One of them was a paper mache bowl, and I was really proud of it because it was like a blue-green color, and then a dull blue-green on the outside. And the reason I was so proud of that is because it reminded me of Indiana Jones, and what was it, the third one? What was it called?
The Temple of... No.
Whatever it was, the third one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no.
I don't know. I know that there was...
It was the goblet that Jesus bled into, or whatever.
You mean the chalice full of wine?
Yeah, that too. It was them finding that. And it looked like that goblet because the inside of the goblet was like a bright gold and the outside was like a very dull brown. And it reminded me of that. And I'm like, oh yeah, that looks so cool.
That is cool.
And and then the other one was a self-portrait made out of charcoal. Like not like a statue of charcoal, but like it was charcoal drawing on white paper.
The first time I saw that, I was just like, it was out of context for me because I didn't know that I was going to be seeing you. And I knew right away that was you. But it didn't make sense to me because I was like, this is not sent from you. I don't know why I'm looking at this right now. And but it was pretty cool. It's very good.
Thanks.
Yeah. The other outlet for you to creativity in a different form is singing.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I love singing.
Yeah. Don't you have something coming up soon? Or was that
was
it?
Yeah.
And so that didn't happen?
Right.
Okay. I always try to get you to join a barbershop quartet, something like that, because I know how much you enjoy singing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we said this before or not, but you've been in a cappella groups before, and you really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever think about doing that again?
Sometimes. But whenever I graduated high school, the a cappella group that you just mentioned, all of us performed at it, and it was my last performance that I've done, and that was 10, 11 years ago. So, but regardless, that was my 99th performance.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I not surprised you kept track of that?
That includes things like musicals and different concerts that I've done and different things like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's another thing, and another way that you expressed your creativity was in the school plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You enjoyed that too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
How did you adapt to all the interaction and the stress that everybody else was feeling? And I've been in a lot of plays, so I know that electricity that happens on opening night.
Yeah.
I know that excitement.
Yeah.
I know how that feels.
Strangely enough, I've never had stage fright.
I know. I know. Whether it comes to acting or singing or speaking,
Yeah.
you've never had an issue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
what was your question?
I was talking about the stress that comes with being in a production like that with a lot of people. People need to be in costume. They need to be, on their mark.
Yeah.
They need to be, people going back and forth all the time to ready to enter when they need to. And
yeah.
So, was that difficult for you at times?
No, because it was all very structured. I mean, think about it like that. Everything has to happen in its own time, in its own step-by-step process. And everyone is supposed to know their own things and so on and so forth. It makes it a lot easier when people know what they're doing. And are passionate about what they're doing.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
You just thought it was barely organized chaos?
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I never thought of it as the patterns or, I've never thought of it that way. Even watching you, I never thought of it that way, and when I was doing it myself, I never thought of it that way. It was, like I say, the electricity of it.
Yeah.
Was just very invigorating and exciting. Yeah. And
I remember at one time you saying that you do comedy on a beat. Da 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 da.
It's all and it is all patterns.
Yeah.
It is all patterns.
And not only is it on the beat, but it's also based upon the audience. Yeah. So I know I've learned a thing or two about timing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Doesn't mean I'm that great at it still, but
well, what's it like for you? That makes a lot of sense because when we just said, there's actors, Dan Aykroyd, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense what you just said because I had wondered somebody that is on the spectrum the acting is a very social activity.
Yeah.
And yet I can see what you're talking about is that it's social, but you're on your own path.
Yeah.
You have your destination.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what's going on around you, you have your destination.
Yeah.
So I see that that's a pattern that how you can stay within your own pattern, and then you would be okay. So, is there anything else that you want to share about your creative side?
Sometimes I get urges to draw or write or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get all set up to do it, and then nothing happens. Sometimes I get the urge to do it, and I just go on and on and on for hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back on it and I'm like, whoa.
Mm. When you've gotten a lot of stuff done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm interrupted and I lose what I am working on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh.
Right.
But it all no matter what though, I still get these urges sometimes to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helps having you guys as support me through this.
Yeah. And also you have, in this area, there's, through CARD, there's a lot of opportunities for you to be creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you're kind of winding down.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it. Just by your posture, kind of.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks for talking about this. I know that it maybe I didn't make it really clear in the beginning, so I appreciate you sticking with me.
Yeah.
Through
no
that.
problem.
Yeah. All right. So, I appreciate everybody listening and hanging out with us. If you give us whatever you're listening to whatever platform you're listening on.
Whatever program you're listening from.
Mm-hmm. If you would give us 5 stars, that helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
And next week, we are at podcast 52.
Oh, wow.
That means 1 year in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So what we're going to do is something a little bit different next time. So.
Oh?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay. Keep your secrets.
Well, it's gonna be fun. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
One of the reasons, it's my understanding that the reasons for the 5 stars
mm-hmm.
is so that our voice can be heard by more people.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting our voices out there is what we're all about.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can help out whoever we can.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So please give us 5 stars if you can.
Yep. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you listening so much. Thank you. And have a great day. Love you.
Bye.